Gonna cough all the way through this. I'm gonna sneeze all the way through this. We're gonna have to bear with. Vision boarding. Now, I don't want to actually do the vision boards tonight. We will most likely do a proper vision boarding session before 2026. But what we don't want to do is get to the end of 2025 and not having given it any thought whatsoever. So, this is an idea session. This is a thinking about it, getting the right questions in your mind. And then what you guys can do is start to go on Pinterest for some inspiration. You can get your ideas down, your thoughts on paper, and then you can actually start to go and find some visuals that reflect the kind of thoughts that you would like to have and all of these ideas for 2026. Now, I want you to think all encompassing. I don't I don't want to restrict this to health and fitness. I very much believe that we can have holistic lives. Do you know what I mean? We can achieve things that we set out to achieve. That could be a financial goal. It could be some materialistic goals in there. What we don't want, and I don't think you guys would anyway, we don't want an entire vision board of just cars and money. Do you know what I mean? We obviously want some of the other stuff, like thinking about habit stacking, who you actually would like to be in 2026. What would that version of you look like? What do we want to leave behind in 2025? These are the kind of things that can start to get you thinking. So I've drawn a stick woman. She's got boobs. I think it's better than my perimenopausal woman. Do you remember her from Instagram? I feel like it is better. Hang on. Let me put the big light on. Hang on. Big light's going on. We're a bit close. We're a bit close, a bit far. I can't tell. This sometimes works better on Instagram lives. I'm pretty sure it's going to be backwards to you guys as well. So you're going to have to bear with that. Just moving it around. Right. So I've got three different questions that I want you guys to answer. But underneath each one, I've got loads of consideration points to kind of give you some clues about what I want. So if I were doing this right now, sorry, trying to get it so my big fat head's in, I would literally put like myself in the middle, or I would put the question in the middle and then just spider diagram off and start to think about this kind of area. So the first one is, who do I want to be? So I'm not on my phone. Do you know what I mean? My notes are on my phone. So this is to do with identity, self-image, and standards of who you actually want to be as a person. So what would you like? How would you describe yourself in 2026? So what kind of adjectives would you think about for yourself? So it might be strong, might be independent, it might be powerful, it might be like, do you know what I mean? All of those things. Like, what words would you actually put down thinking, yeah, that's how I want to be identified as? So I will put a few down. By all means as well, I'll get the chat box up. If you guys want to put any of your words in, because you can bounce off each other here as well. But strong, determined, sexy. You might think, you know what? This version of myself, I know some of you guys at the end of this year, you're going into Christmas parties and you're wearing outfits and you actually feel sexy. Or you might want to feel loved. You might want to feel appreciated. Like whatever adjectives work for you, write those down as a kind of form of your identity. What qualities do you want people to notice about you? So if somebody were to talk about you, now this could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a work colleague. Like, what do you want people to notice about you? Are you a hard worker? Are you somebody that gets shit done? Are you dependable and reliable? Are you somebody in the family that people turn to? So when people want a listener or something, like what is it that you want people to think about you outside of just how you think about yourself? So think about this as like a mirror reflection that if somebody said these words to you, you'd feel really proud to go, yes. And I don't know, we used to do it at, when I used to work in the corporate world, it was typically more of the higher up senior people that did it, but they did like I think they call it a 180, where it was about 50 people that were randomly chosen across the company to do this entire completely hidden questionnaire, like an anonymous questionnaire about them, and they would find out what people really thought about them. So, what would you want people to say about you? Do you know what I mean? If somebody was to do a 180 about you and have to truthfully fill out a questionnaire, what would you hope would come back on that? How do you want to feel in your body in 2026? Like, how do you want to feel? And if I was to say at the end of 2026, so imagine a year from now, and I would say the best way to do this as well is to really think about 2026. Now, some of them you might think a bit broader. You might think, so the vision board that I showed you guys in the community chat that Thomas and I did, like, what was that, 5 years ago? Like we were doing that, I think we're doing that based on like a 2 year trajectory. There were obviously some bigger goals on there, like houses and cars and some bigger things on there. So you can think, right, realistically, I'd say this one is good to do on kind of a year to think, right, what do I want my body to be by the end of 2026? And again, you can put a tangible goal in there. If your goal is fat loss, if your goal is pull-ups, if your goal is deadlifts, if your goal is like whatever it might be, that you would feel proud to end 2025 having achieved, what would that look like to you? What version of me shows up when life is busy or stressful? So I've been firefighting today. And I'll be honest, part of me thought today, obviously there was a lot of profusive language going on today in my day, but I actually thought, you're messing with a shark. Come at me, bitch. Do you know what I mean? And that was how I kind of viewed myself. I actually thought, no, come on. I'm ready. I am gunning for this. I've just got back off holiday. I'm relatively refreshed. It's never refreshing, is it, going on a city break? But do you know what I mean? I was thinking, like, I'm a whale. Come for me. But how do you want to feel when you're stressed, when you're up against it, when you're being tested? How do you want to apply that pressure? How do you want to react? How do you want, if you've got children and shit's hitting the fan around you, how do you want to be able to process your emotions and what would you like them to see you doing? Those are the kind of things where, again, children take it all in. Not all of you have got children. I haven't either. So you can do it for yourself as well. What habits does that woman protect no matter what? So this is a really good one for health and fitness. What habits do you want to be completely non-negotiable no matter what? Now be realistic as well. Now, we often set your minimum standard of habits inside. That's pretty much your daily check-in. That's what we would love from you. Those 3 workouts, those ideally, whatever the step goal is. Now, in an ideal world, it's amazing to hit 10,000, but you might think, no, no, my minimum standard is 6,000. This is like the worst, like the kind of the bottom. No, no, no matter what happens, these are my standards. I don't care what's going on around me. I don't care who's being, unfortunately, it sounds awful, but diagnosed with what. I don't care about like all of these things. I don't care how hard work gets. I don't like these are the things I still want to hit as my non-negotiables. And again, I would probably do this thinking about a week. And these are great things that you can get off Pinterest, like a little water jug, like to represent this. You can get, do you know what I mean? All of these different things to show a visual. It could be, again, doing 3 training sessions, literally times 3, and then a photo of a training session. Like all of those things you can actually build out. Da-da. What am I no longer available for? So, what am I no longer going to allow people or things to take from me that I no longer wish for them to be able to have access to. Now, for some of you guys, this one might be a little bit deeper. It might be a little bit, and you all know I'm pretty brutal with certain things. If I think something or somebody is not serving me, I will cut that thing out like quick, fast, because I do believe in protecting my energy. I believe in protecting my immediate bubble of what is important to me, like all of you guys. If I thought anybody was going to jeopardize that, they're going to be removed so fast their feet won't touch the ground. It's that kind of thing. What are you guys here to protect in 2026? And it's great to look back on going, what was I not happy that I didn't protect this year that I would really like to protect more of next year? What am I proud of myself for becoming? So what would make you feel really, really proud if you became that woman in 2026? What would make you think, fuck yeah, like I achieved that, I did that. And I am so proud of myself for getting there. Like we obviously shout out wins all of the time in check-ins, in these Zooms, in the group chats. Like what would make you think, like, God, I showed up. I really gave it the beans in 2026. Right, so give you guys a moment to do that while I write the next one on. Oh, that pen worked so well earlier, and I think I left the lid on for too long. Hang on, we're changing colours. Oh, hi, Thomas. Yeah. We have a Thomas. Right, let's see if the blue will show up on the screen. I mean, it's not amazing. Oh, fuck, I don't think you can see that at all. We'll go again. Now we've got blue and red. Yeah, that's better. So this one is how do I want to live? So this is lifestyle, energy, boundaries, balance, and I would probably say maybe some more possessions might come into this one. So if any of you guys have got materialistic goals, and again, that's absolutely fine to do so. Like I say, we don't want the whole lot to be about that, but some of it definitely can be if that's what you want. So just going to mute somebody then. I heard somebody. No, I think you are all on mute. Um, so what does a normal week look like in my ideal life? Now, some of you guys might even, I've been working closely with a handful of you, I would say, quite recently, where you felt like, you know what, I want a career change. I want to do something differently. I want to, do you know what I mean? I want to go freelance, or I'm already a freelancer and I want to be better at doing this. So, what would that version of you look like in 2026? It might be that actually you feel like you're burning the wick at both ends and you want to rein it in a little bit and you think, right, that would look a bit differently to me. You might think I'm a scattergun and actually I want to be more fucking organized. So I'm going to get up earlier, I'm going to stop the snooze button, and I'm going to start changing those little habits. Right, how do my mornings and evenings feel? Which I think is a really good one as well. Like the idea of, yeah, what kind of energy do you start your day with? What kind of energy do you end your day with? Yeah, living guilt-free. Like guilt's a really interesting one because it serves no purpose. There is literally not 1 ounce of anything. Like, do you know what I mean? Okay, if you run over a child, I kind of go, yeah, you've got every right to feel pretty guilty about that. Do you know what I mean? Even if the child was unharmed and undamaged or whatever, like, but you would, yeah, you would be inhumane if you did not feel toward that situation. But usually we're living in guilt that does not serve, and it's stupid shit that when you actually think, am I going to care about this in 6 months' time? No. Am I going to notice this in a week? Is anybody else worrying about this or just me? Do you know what I mean? All of these things, these are the questions we need to get really good at asking ourselves to be like, I can't keep, it's exhausting. It is so exhausting living your brain in that life of guilt. And honestly, sometimes I wish I could just like take how I do something and give it to you guys because I don't feel that. Do you know what I mean? I don't, if I genuinely think, if I've done something wrong, I'll own up to it. Do you know what I mean? I'll be the first person to say, I've fucked up here and I do feel bad. But if it's not, do you know what I mean? If it's not something that's serving me, I would rather put my energy into finding a solution. And it is really interesting because women's minds are more like we're less solutions oriented as women. We're more to do with like living in the emotion side. And if we can get more over into the how do I overcome what's eating me alive? What can I do about this? How can I move that forward? Because that solution might well help you feel a little bit better. But it is, yeah, it's really, really, and I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not sure if you couldn't tell. That's not my natural personality. It's not like I just, yeah, I obviously I want to please people, and that sounds like no, I don't, and I do, and like, but equally for me, somebody has to want to be willing to do it themselves. They have to be willing to do that. So I can meet someone halfway, but if they're not going to meet me the other halfway, then I'm not going to move anything, and I can't feel guilty. I'd love to change so many women's lives, so many women, but if they're not prepared to do it, I have to let that energy drop. Like I had a woman in my DMs the other day, and I read it while I was in Germany, and I really wish I hadn't because it was heartbreaking that it was her, I think it was a husband, I think they were married, that she was supposed to go to his Christmas party and she hated everything that she wore. And then in the end, she had the biggest like meltdown and just didn't go. And she just didn't go because of how she felt like she looked in the mirror. And I thought, that's fucking, do you know what I mean? I want to help this woman so bad. And I want to be able to please her and for her to please herself. But if she's not going to move the needle, then it's a dead end conversation, isn't it? So I think people pleasing can be dangerous. So again, I think within reason, we need an element of that. But I do think we've got to try and go, actually, who's pleasing me? Who's doing that for me? Because I'm giving all of my energy and filling everyone else's cup, and it's coming at the cost of my own. So why don't I stop being a little bit more selfish and please my cup? Do you know what I mean? Fill my cup, please myself, and then what I've got left I can give to other people. But I do recognize it's easier said than done. And it is a personality trait. Sometimes it's hard, like it's the people who are always late. Personality trait, really fucking hard to change. If you're always late, put that on your damn board, people. Be on time. Because for those of us who are rigid, oh my God, it's irritating. But yeah, personality trait, I recognize that. What does my relationship with food, training, rest, what does that look like in 2026? What would you like it to look like? Again, this might come down to a little bit more organization, a bit more discipline, might come down to doing a bit of meal prep. Do you want to be that person? Do you want to be the meal prepper? You know, when you see them on like on TikTok or Instagram, and even I think, wow, sometimes, God, that looks incredible. But like, who do you want to be in terms of that? How much stress versus calm is in my day to day? And you might want to put this as like a percentage. Like, and again, like it's up to you if you want to put where you're at now versus where you want it to be at the end of 2026. What boundaries do I have around work, time, and people? So again, Michelle, this is a good one for you. What boundaries do you want to set around other people? Right, I'm just going to go grab a water. Talk too much and I lose my voice. What am I making non-negotiable in my lifestyle? I feel like we probably did cover that off a little bit in the last one. Are there any upgrades or possessions that I want to bring into my life? So, some of you guys have welcomed in puppies into the households this year. I know little Hector Bear was on our vision board. Although originally, I think we thought we wanted another black and tan, and then when we saw them, we were like, oh my God, we need a try. So, it's like, again, it might be a car upgrade, could be a house move. Do any of you guys want to move house in 2026? How unflattering are dressing gowns, by the way. I look as wide as this board. So unflattering, aren't they? But it's the comfiest thing I ever put on my body, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, any material possessions, anything like you guys will have seen on the board I shared, we had the kind of financial goal of 10 grand in a month. Like, what do you guys want? Do you want a pay rise? And not just pie in the sky. I'm a big believer in actually write the numbers, put the numbers down, especially if you're self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, like you are your limit. Do you know what I mean? Like within reason. But again, think realistically, where can I get to in the time frame that you're thinking about in your mind? Now, you might want to do a bit of a 5-year mind map going, this is where I want to be. Do you know what I mean? Financially, car, house, like family, all of this. Or you might think, no, you know what? I'm just going to do 2026 and I'd just really like a promotion and I'd like to earn £3,000 more, £5,000 more. I want to get the company car. Like what is it? Do you know what I mean? What would that look like to you guys? I know, Jem, you obviously put about the engagement. Like, there's another one to be like, right, I would be putting the ring on the board. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would be putting on there. Also, how do you want to be engaged to? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what would your ideal version look like? It could be low key, it could be high key. What do you want? Get it on the board. Anyone getting married? Anyone got any wedding goals? Anything like that? Again, that's brilliant to put on there. So, moving on to the last one. I've already forgotten what it says. Right, what do I want to do? Okay, so this is probably the engagement one actually. Experiences, career, achievements, and actions. So what do I want to achieve by the end of 2026? What is that? Do you know what I mean? Like as an individual, what do you want to get to by the end of 2026? What would that look like to you? And I know that's quite a big question, isn't it? But hopefully something stands out to you as what you would actually like to achieve as a person. And it might just be a bit more peace than 2025, or a bit more happiness, or I don't know, you might want to expand your family. Again, you might want that engagement, all of these different things. What do you want? You might want to meet your forever partner. You might want to move in with them. Like whatever that looks like, get it on your board. What experiences do you want to create or say yes to? So, do you want to do little city breaks? Do you want to, a bit like Thomas and I, we had it on one of our vision boards, goal boards for like, yeah, it was last year, wasn't it? Where we said, right, we're going to do a date night a month. That's one that we put on our vision board. Victoria can relate to that. That's it. That's another thing. Get it on your board. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got to be something where you go, right, okay, what do we want to do? It might be bringing your marriage a little bit more like to the forefront, where it's not just all about being a mum, being children, like all of these things. It's going, no, actually, I want more time for us as a couple. We're gonna fight for that. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna put it on our vision board, showing very, very happy couple and not just celebrating anniversaries. Do you know what I mean? Not just going, right, that's the only thing we're going to celebrate together in a year. No, we could do loads more than that. Do you know what I mean? What do you want to feel confident doing? That's a good one, isn't it? Now, this could be public speaking at work. It could be, I don't know, showing maybe your journey on Instagram. I know, like some clients we've worked with, previously have set up like their very own health and fitness kind of pages on Instagram where they just want to feel confident being able to post about their journey, showing off their body. You might think, I want to be confident in my body in these damn fucking check-in photos. That's obviously a big one. It's come up quite a lot recently, and it's a really common thing to not like your check-in photos. But do you want to feel confident going, even if I'm not there yet? This is a journey. Like, even if I'm on my way, I'm ticking boxes, I'm showing up, I'm doing this check-in with fucking pride because I'm here and I'm working hard for this, and I've lost 2 pounds this week, or I hit whatever PB this week. And those wins are not there by accident. We don't like it when people don't show up with a win, even if it feels completely insurmountable or so insignificant to you. We have to practice gratitude as human beings. We have to be able to tap into the point in your psyche that says, I can see that there is a win here, because ultimately we are alive. Do you know what I mean? There are people in some terrible circumstances. We are here on this planet. The sperm that got you here and the egg that got you here, when you really think about that micro moment that happened to give you a place on this planet, we have to find the gratitude. We have to find the reason to say, yeah, I'm grateful. In this moment, this is my win. And that's what we're trying to get you again to do, even if it feels like it's a shit show and there's nothing good to celebrate. There is always something to celebrate. We just have to dig deeper and find it. What health or fitness milestones matter to me? So, what do you want to achieve? Again, this could be think PBs, think massive achievements, think like we're talking about a whole year here where you can actually, like, so much can happen in the space of 12 months. Some of you guys will have fully finished reverse dieting by then. You might think, fuck, I want to maintain my body on 2,500, 3,000 calories. Get it on the fucking board. Like, do you know what I mean? Those kind of things where you're going, wow, this is a massive fucking achievement. Some of you guys might want to do a HYROX. You might want to, I don't know, go and do some kind of marathon. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys do that. Some of you guys might have, like, obviously, as you know, I'm a cheerleader. We'll be competing again in February and June or July. I can't remember off the top of my head. So it's those kind of things, like, where would we want to place? What do we want to achieve with our squad? Like, it's those kind of things where you can get all of those goals on there. What skills do you want to learn or improve? Now, again, this could be wide open. Cleaning will never be one of mine. But what do you guys want to get better at? It could be fucking parallel parking if you wanted it to be. Do you know what I mean? Like, not that there's that much excitement in that, but if you think, no, you know what? I really don't like getting stressed out if I cannot park. And I'm not being sexist. I'm the best parker you'll ever find, by the way. But like, try and beat me. Try again, confidence of a whale. Like, you will not beat me. I will happily do it in front of a massive stadium, a massive crowd. I'm like, nope, I can park anywhere. But it could be a thing. Do you know what I mean? What do you want to achieve? Again, might be a work thing, might be a home thing, it might be a fertility thing for some of you guys. Again, the more we can visualize our, like, putting ourselves into the shoes of what these things might look like it can happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can make things move. What do I want to be consistent with within the next 12 to 18 months? So what would make you feel good with consistency? Again, that might be as simple as just not snoozing the alarm, getting up. It could be something that simple. Going on walks, trying to change the weather. More consistent sunshine would be amazing. What would make me say, I really showed up for myself? What would really make you think, yeah, again, I gave it, I sent it. 2026 is, it's your year for the taking. It's there. It can be had in whatever way you choose to have it. And that is the final question. So I'm going to move my lady out of the way and bring the chair back in. I'll turn the big light off because that's a bit much now. Bit much. Right, let's have a look at some of these. I couldn't fully see all of the chat as we were going through. Where are we? What's wrong with people? Literally every rental agreement I've ever known to man. Yeah, it was. I don't know how that was a shock to the system. I was really surprised at how shocked and angry he got, thinking, and bearing in mind as well, it's 200 quid. I'd happily give it him back. Like but it's the principle. I'm like, no, and if you're gonna be like a dick, I'm gonna go through the fucking ropes with you then, pal. Right, so confident about my body. I want to feel in control. I love that from both of those. I want to react calmly in stressful situations and not let them dictate my life. For example, skipping the gym if I feel mentally crap. And that is a big one. Sometimes actually accepting that, you know what, we're not well enough to go actually serves the purpose better than trying to push it. And I think there is something about that. There is something about winning at that feeling of going, I don't feel guilty because I know. And like I don't feel guilty. I feel sad when I can't go. I feel like, ah, God. Do you know what I mean? And like last week was difficult. Obviously, we're in Berlin, then I've got cheerleading one night. So it's like, God, I've only literally got like 2 days to be able to do this, and that's it. I'm not going to get all of my sessions in, but I walked an enormous amount. Like I did a lot of movement, a lot of sightseeing, a lot of like, so you feel like, right, okay, can I get this in another way? But sickness is rife around the entire damn country. I'm sure anyone that watches the news, you will have seen just how bad it is. Anyone that works in healthcare at the minute, you will know this. It's bad at the minute. We have to kind of just accept that, again, there's no point feeling guilty because my mantra has always been make a decision and feel good with it either way. Because you either opt in or you opt out. But there's no point in opting in and thinking, oh, fuck, I really should I have opted out? Oh, God, I'm going to sit and stew about this for the entirety of the day because what, for what purpose? No, you made your decision. That's fine. And we're always going to prefer if you just make your decision and just kind of come to terms with it. Like, but it's a learning curve. We've addressed those ones. I want to stop being so hard on myself. Like you and Michelle are like like the same person at the minute. Um, Goes in hand with being a people pleaser. Yeah. I want to be able to become successful in my art. Yeah, that's a great one. That I can reduce my current working hours by a day. Part of me thinks this is wishful thinking. No. I don't believe in wishful thinking. I believe in setting a goal and then what would that version, so the version of Gemma that can take a day off work and purely dedicate that to her art, what would she be doing? What actions would she be taking to get to that goal? So you might not know this, Gemma, but I basically at one point pretty much lost everything and started delivering parcels for every literally like 5 pence a parcel. I was in all of this kind of weather, worst part of my entire life. Like literally gone from doing incredibly like in the space that I was in to pretty much just losing everything when the market shifted in COVID. There was also the point I got fat. I ate my feelings. But I managed to turn the whole lot around. But it's not by accident that I got to where I am today. It's not by accident that we coach nearly 100 women. It's going, right, what actions do I take to in order to get that? Admittedly, I've been a lot slacker in December. I know why that is, and again, I'm fine with it. I'm not feeling guilty about posting less. I'm okay with it, and I also recognize December is one of the opportunities that I can take a little bit of a step back from the promotion side of the business, the marketing side of the business, because people don't really think about this for another couple of weeks. But what actions would that version of you take in order to, and how much money would you need to make? So break it down, right? I would need to make this in a month or in a week, however you want to dictate that. Look at that, how much time that would be, how much promotion that would be, what you need to do in order to get there. Referrals, starting to think about, right, okay, how can I remind people of what I do? All of those different things, but you just break it down and work it out. What would that look like? And genuinely sit with those thoughts. What would that version of me look like? And what would she be doing? You won't beat my parking. I'll take you on. That's absolutely hilarious. When we do stronger, we're gonna have a park off now. I think that would be the funniest thing ever. I love that. I love that I made myself a priority the last 4 months because of this program, and I want to keep that. Amazing. And you've made phenomenal progress, Lauren. Like all of you guys are making phenomenal progress. You're here showing up for yourselves at 20 to 9 on a Tuesday night because you want to be better versions of yourselves. Like Emma, do you know what I mean? Like made redundant, shitting pants, do you know what I mean? To then getting a job that you've always really wanted to work for that company for. Again, I'm a big believer in, and like it's really funny to say, like, and we weren't worried. And like this is what happens. We're never worried because we can see the trajectory that people are on, and we can see the people that put things out to the universe and what can come your way. And again, I'm a massive believer in everything happens for a reason. We might not see it at the time, but if we're taking action and we're on a path and we're not just sitting idle and we're not just expecting life to happen to us, we're going out, getting it like you can control that. You can control where you actually go with your own future. And I mean, credit to you for doing that. Like, big shout out to Emma. Right. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Anything program related, anything form related, fitness, health, anything at all? I'm trying to think if I think I did get asked something earlier. Let me just check. Uh, whether it's quite personal or stages of this message. Oh, it was another one. I was quite unwell overnight. So resulting in a 1 kilogram weight loss overnight. Choosing not to log my weight for a day or two because I know it's mostly water weight, not fat loss. That is correct, by the way. And a lot of you guys will know this by now that if we can't eat, if we like, it's the same as when you get a sickness bug when you're throwing up, you feel like you've got a six pack the next day, but then it's going to evaporate pretty quickly, isn't it? And you're going to end up bouncing a little bit back to where you were. So it is a bit of an artificial, you can put it in by all means, but we know it's a bit of an artificial reading. Is this the last week for check-ins? Yes. So let me just check because Christmas is on Thursday next week. Now, I mean, my rule of thumb is if you want to check in, you can. We will not be working Christmas Day or Boxing Day. We will not be coming back to any check-ins next week. However, if you wanted to do it, although I would strongly consider you don't. And the reason for this is because I do believe there is more to checking in next week, right? There is more to checking falls on a Thursday and a Friday. It falls on Christmas Day and a Boxing Day. And I kind of feel like, is that really what we want to be promoting inside of the program? Going, really worry about your weight on Christmas Day, guys. Really worry about your weight and checking in by 9 o'clock on Boxing Day. Not really. I don't really want to advocate for that. And I kind of want you guys to go in with the mindset of going, it will be okay. I will be okay. It is a couple of days. Do you know what I mean? There are 365 days in the year. If you're coached by me, you'll have heard this 1,000 times. We just want to nail 300. 65, we can take off for the things and the stuff like the Christmas, the holidays, the birthdays, the celebrations, the illnesses, whatever that might be, and we just want to nail the other days. That's the point. Now, by all means, if you want to train, we might well train on Christmas Day because that's something we really love doing, and we're not needed before like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Although I am cooking dinner this year, so I am going to have to think that through. It might not happen this year. I don't know. But this is it. It's like, right, consider that. Do you know what I mean? But again, I'm not going to hate on anyone. If you really want to do it, do it. But I would say it works beautifully the next week. The next week falls where the celebrations have come to an end and we can go, right, okay, we might well open it for, let me just see what it is. So the first, no, it works out perfectly. So the first is New Year's Day, and the second, which most of you, I would say, do check in. We might just allow you to do it a little bit longer, but that's the second a lot of you will do it on. That's going to be a great time to go, right, rip the bandage off. Where am I at? Now I'm getting back on it. And we'll be preempting you going, right, get your food shopping done, get yourselves organized, think, ready for next week. How can I win? That's what we're going to be preempting you on. So, yeah, that's where I'm at in my head. Can you demonstrate reverse lunge again? My knees kill on it, and I reckon it is me. So you could get knee sleeves, by the way. Where are you, Michelle? You're on a blank screen anyway, so not you, the other one. So you could get knee sleeves if your knees are really feeling it and you actually think, oh, I'm not sure that my form is completely off here. You could get knee sleeves, and it might just be a slight weakness in there she is. There might be a slight weakness in your like knees themselves. And also you've got to consider that we are building up the strength in these kind of joints, and obviously the more muscle we have protecting them, the better that will be. But what we want to think about, I will move my lady, hang on. I don't think the leg's in correctly, so we have to move it weirdly. What I want to think about is train tracks. Keep your feet hip distance apart. It doesn't matter if we are lunging forwards or if I am lunging backwards in my slippers, not the safest, but I'll do it backwards so you can see it better. We stay on the train tracks, okay? So whether I'm forwards, whether I'm backwards, what I'm not doing is bringing it in here. What that's going to do is cause your leg to come outwards, and you're plie. We're not doing ballet. Do you know what I mean? We're doing a reverse lunge. In an ideal world as well, if I come sideways, what we want to do is try and keep this shin as upright as possible. So this one we want upright, okay? The more knee over toe we start to go, that's going to look like a split squat. Whereas a lunge, we want to come down, okay? So start thinking, try and keep that leg, that front leg, as upright as possible, because what that's doing, a lunge should work the glutes in that lengthened position. So if you think, when I'm in, well, I've got a pen in my pocket, pen in my pocket. So when I'm in, hang on, get it the right way, do it this way. When I'm like down here, no, wrong one, this way. This is where it's working. So my glute is now, if I went a bit lower, is fully lengthened. That's where we want to be. When anything knee over toe is bringing a lot more quad into the game. So we just want to think about trying to get more glute work, and it should actually take a lot of the knee and the knee joint out of the equation. Does that make sense, Michelle? Perfect. But by all means, send any form checks, send anything through. Or like I say, knee sleeves. They're basically like a bit of a compression sock. So it's almost like you get lifting version. So when we get quite heavy, so I would typically use those on a leg press. If I'm doing like 220 kg plus, my knees will feel that. So it's just a compression sock. You can get them on Amazon. Perfect stocking filler. If anyone needs any ideas for you, just make sure you get the measurement of your leg correct, but there will be guidance on Amazon from that. So just, yeah, make sure they fit. They are a little bit stretchy, but not that much, because obviously it is a compression. So it's got to be fairly tight, but not too tight. A dumbbell row, yeah. So, I mean, there's many versions of, obviously you've got the ones where you are over the bench like this, or you've got the ones where, so we'll do it, the ones where imagining I'm on the back of a chair. So yeah, it's not necessarily wrong, by the way. It's just you change the muscle groups in which you target. The mistake a lot of people make when they row, they'll come up. Now you can, but that's going to work a lot more of the back muscles. Whereas what we want to think about is working the lats and the back at the same time. So what we want to think about is starting obviously fully lengthened position. Unless you've got hypertension, you might, like I say, just keep a slight bend in your elbow. But what we want to think about, instead of rowing to our titty, okay, we're not doing that. I want you to think about row to your belly button. I want you to think that arm, I want it to come in an arc, okay? Now, the other mistake people make is coming all the way back here. You actually don't, your elbow does not need to pass your back. So you can come to here and you won't really get any more out of that exercise once you reach that point. You are fully at the lat lengthened position. So we think, not to our titty. Again, that's going to cause the elbow to flare out. We want to think row in a nice little arch towards our little belly buttons, and we're going to bring it back round, okay? So that is your dumbbell row. pretty much in all circumstances. Even if you're doing it on the machines, you're going to be coming like that, like in that row position. Um, da. High protein snacks in the midst of a reverse diet. Need to eat more protein, struggling to hit my protein goal. Um, I mean, I get all of my protein pretty much through meat and fish. I'm not gonna lie. I actually don't. I'm not a huge protein snacker, I wouldn't say. Sometimes, if I'm in a cut, I would definitely have one of the protein yogurts because I need it to last. I need to stretch out that position that I'm in from usually 3, 4 o'clock. I'm getting hangry and I'm like, oh my God. And I need that protein yogurt. So that's where like Aldi or whatever supermarket you use will come into play for me. Um, Things like edamame beans. I love an edamame bean, really high in protein, but all beans for that matter. If you're making a salad or a couscous or anything like vegetable-y, like a chili, beans, peas, amazing. As soon as you add them in, that's going to bolster up your protein. But again, I mean, I would eat edamame beans as a snack. I definitely would personally. Some people would only have them in with other things. Greek yogurt bowls. Do you know what I mean? Where you just have like if you're at home and you can make it in like a little, I mean you can actually buy the little fire pots as well. What else does everybody else do? What else? Some people, if you've got the calories, I mean, I don't personally love protein bars. Be very, very rare that you would, unless I'm at a conference with a speaker that is all about like fitness and they have protein bars. That's probably the only time you'd ever see me eating a protein bar. Obviously, I have my protein shakes. That's another one. If you're like looking for another low one, you might go for the clear way, which is less than 100 calories, and you just have it as juice. Do you know what I mean? And you're just getting another 25 grams of protein in at like really good bang for your buck, but probably not going to make you feel particularly satisfied. Yeah, Baby Bell's another one, a little one. Do you know what I mean? Eggs, like if you just want it, like I can quite easily eat a hard-boiled egg. Yeah, Karen's just said it. I will also happily smash a tin of tuna just out of the tin. Like I know it's not everyone's bag, is it? But I quite like tuna just as is. Do you know what I mean? That's a snack to me. But not that I'm not that much fun in terms of like I'm just eating to make sure I'm hitting my goals. But yeah, I'd say they're probably your ones. Um, Harder, obviously, if you're veggie. Are you veggie? No. So a little bit easier then, do you know what I mean? To get a little bit experimental. But yeah, you might fancy a little bit of cheese, something like that to go, oh yeah, a little bit of cheese. I'll add that into my day. So just little wins like that, really. Right, any more for any more? Fridge raiders. I don't know what that is. What is the fridge raider? Is that yogurt? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've heard of it, but it's not coming to me.
Chicken, little bags of
Ah,
chicken.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, I know what you mean. The little like
You
snack
get them like
bags. Yeah,
a multi-bag, and I think the 22.5 gram multi-bags, they don't work out too bad.
yeah, that's a great shout. Again, for the meat eaters, that's another one. Yeah, I've seen those in the supermarkets as well. So I think hopefully there's some options there that you like. Um, right, any more for any more? That was a good one. I enjoyed that tonight, guys. Hopefully you guys did too. So start thinking now, right? Instagram, Pinterest, start to think about going, right, okay, I want some visuals to start pulling together for my vision board. I'm a big believer in doing an actual vision board. And like I say, I like, or you do it digitally and you put it as the background as your phone. And it actually then, do you know what I mean? You see it subconsciously every single day. Or you have it somewhere. You might have it on, like a fridge magnet printed on your fridge. Oh, I need to put my Berlin fridge magnet up. I'll get Thomas. We'll do that in a minute. We collect fridge magnets. So yeah, like things like that. That's what we want to do. So start collecting your images that go really well with the questions that you answered this evening. But yeah, and then if anyone does make them in the interim, we would love to see them. By all means, please do share them in the community because it's always very inspiring to see what other people put together. Right, I will love you and leave you. Final check-in this week. We'll be having a good old stalky stalk tomorrow, just seeing how everybody's getting on. But obviously, we understand the time of the year gets a bit tricky. But again, I still think this is a great week. Try and crush it where possible. And then next week, we can obviously start to just ease off a little bit. But yeah, we will see you very soon. Have a lovely week, guys. See you later. Bye.